Hello, Matthew. How are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, another episode of Fireside Chat. Wow. When you said what we're talking about, I thought, how exciting.
Yeah, no, look, it's probably my favourite subject. It's a subject that's I've been dealing with for the last 30 years. So yeah, love it.
So I bet you could talk for more than just an hour on it.
Oh, good,
You could.
good.
Oh, beautiful. Well, we'll get started. I'll just do a bit of housekeeping. So people who have been here before would know the drill. I'm Adair Palmer, and I just pop in to introduce Matthew and the Fireside Chat, do the housekeeping, and then I skedoodle. But if you're here, just let us know that you're here. Jump in and say hi, because we'd love to, see who's here. We've already had Holly say hello, and yeah, I'm just taking over here.
Hey Fiona.
So while you get your typing fingers in going, we can. I'll just explain how this works. We would love for you to make sure as many people as possible see this amazing show, because the content and the wisdom that Matthew imparts during his fireside chat is second to none, and it really is helping. It's true. It really is helping, and it's wonderful that Matthew's able to bring that to us and to you through this medium. So please make sure that your friends and loved ones see this. And by that, I mean that little button that goes like that. Just give it a tap, and you also may invite your friends as well. We want to have a party here. Please say hi. And we got New Zealand. I love these Kiwis.
I know.
And look, Janet's here.
Hey Janet.
And now I'm taking over completely because I have control. I'm just going to say we are also cross-posted on 2 pages. Now, if you don't know what cross-posted means, don't worry about it. But all you need to know is that if you are on Matthew Greenwood's Spiritual Journeys page or mytimetv.live on the channel, we can see your comments. So we are live in both places. If you are watching from anywhere else, and we are in a few other places as well, if you're watching from anywhere else, we won't be able to see your comments and your questions. So please do pop over. There are links up here that will take you back to the My Time TV or Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys page. So come over to either one. And if you're commenting, as these lovely people are, thank you, Melissa, tagging Marissa. I thought you'd take yourself there for a minute. So if you are commenting and you can't see other people commenting, it's because they are on another page. They're on one of the other pages, but we can see it in the back end of the dashboard here. So then the other thing about that is, if you're on the Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys page, you make a comment, you will get in your inbox via Messenger, you'll get a message saying, would you like to register for a spirit guide reading, which Matthew will announce last week's winner very shortly. And you will also get an opportunity to download the Ultimate Spirit Guide. The Ultimate Spirit Guide, the Ultimate. I was doing so well. Help me out here. I've just had a complete brain fart.
You will be open to getting a free spirit guide reading. How's that?
The grounding exercise.
Oh, that
grounding exercise. I'm going UGE, the Ultimate Spirit Guide. No, there's something. So the ultimate grounding exercise that Matthew takes us through every Thursday and Monday, alternate Mondays, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Is free, and it's all written out. So if you don't want to, if you want to read through and then go through the grounding, and there's also an accompanying video or audio, you can use it as an audio as well inside of that document. So you can grab that as well from the chat bot. Okay. And the what else was there? Yes, also meditation with Matthew is starting as fortnightly now from Monday, the 31st of August. And I'll be popping a link in the comments down below, and you can register for that. Just pop into the group and you can register to come along Monday fortnightly. So
Cool.
I'm going to kick it over to you now. And
Thank you.
so,
Thanks, today.
have a great night.
Will do. Hey guys, I'm just going to say a few hellos because a whole heap of people are coming in. So, hey Holly, Fiona, Timothy, Clay, g'day Daniel, Janet, Catherine Britton from New Zealand, Rebel Heart Journeys, hey to you, and Melissa Weldon. We've got Renee Carroll. Hey Renee, name I haven't heard for a while. Sent some sage to you. Melissa Weldon and Carol Campbell, Nige, Jews, Melissa, I think I said that, and Kylie's there, Carolyn Shaw's there, and Suzanne Kenner. Hey guys, well, here we are. Winner from last week, or winner for this week, is Sarah Lennon from New Zealand. So Sarah's going to be contacted by us regarding a free half-hour spirit guide reading, and it just so happens tonight we're going to be talking about spirit guides. So probably a good one for her to listen into if she can hear it anyway on record. And the other thing I was going to say was a big thank you to Jessica Luxmore for sending a great rave about the blog. So we're starting to put blogs up. These blogs are basically the written down information on the talks that I've been doing on Thursday nights. So the ones that seem to have been the best of them all, we're turning them into blogs through some fantastic software. So, but that's Adair's apartment, not mine. I'm a dinosaur. That's why Adair's here. So great that Sarah's on board for a spirit guide reading. And so for tonight, I'll get my words together. For tonight, we're going to do the usual. So that quick meditation, that quick grounding exercise, which I see as invaluable for us, for sensitive people, for people that feel energy, that are empaths, to keep their energy stable and strong and running at a high vibration. This grounding exercise is really, it's invaluable. It's almost a need to be doing it to keep your energy stable with all that's going on. And we know we're getting hit with a lot of stuff. We don't want to get pulled into all of that fear and anxiety. Problem is we pick up on humanity's fear and anxiety. So we need to be doing something to keep our energy stable. And that's what that quick grounding exercise, or it's a quick meditation, but it's a very thorough grounding exercise that keeps your energy nice and strong. So let's do that now, and then we'll get into spirit guides. So just to start with, if you can close your eyes, and nice deep breaths in and out, generally around about 4 to 5 seconds in and 4 to 5 seconds out, so that they're nice, reasonably long, full breaths in, and with the breath out, making it an emptying breath. Don't just give it a quick burst out. Let out everything. If you're only letting out a little bit of that breath, quite often you're hanging on to emotions and hanging on to old energy too. So a full breath out helps you to get into that mode of release. Okay, so with the next deep breath in, we're going to start accessing that life force that you're breathing in. And with the breath out, I want you to push that life force down through your body, your base chakra, your legs, your feet, and down into the earth. So what this is doing, this is activating your base chakra energy, but it's also activating a flow of energy down through your energy system into the earth. But remember that we have an energy system that, because of our human nature, because of who we are, it integrates perfectly into the Earth's energy. The only thing that stops it from integrating is a weakened base chakra energy through fear and anxiety. So the stronger we are, the stronger our base chakra is, and the more connected to the Earth we are. So base chakra seems to be flying along really well with everyone. So now we're going to go deeper. So taking another nice deep breath in, as you pull that life force in, then with the breath out, pushing that right down to the core of the Earth. This is our deepest chakra point in our energy system. So yes, it is very extensive, our energy system. So there is a chakra point right down at the core of the Earth, which, when opened up, engages with the Earth's core chakra. So she has chakra points all over her, but she also has chakra points within her. So as we engage with our Earth chakra, we also engage with the Earth's core chakra. So just keep breathing down deep into that Earth chakra. So when this one becomes activated, you generally feel a bit of a tingling or a warmth all over, or at least a major part of your body. It's not just at your feet. Cool, that feels good. Okay, so now that you've got that, that's your grounding aspect, but now we want to do something to raise your frequency. So this, without saying the word protection, this literally does protect you, but what it does, it raises your frequency to a point where you begin to stabilize your energy more with everything that's going on around us, and it tends to nullify negative energy that's being projected to you. So now this core star energy is basically the God force within us. Instead of thinking of that outside of us, imagine or think of it inside of you. So if you bring your awareness to the center of your physical body to start with, but knowing that we are far more than just physical, knowing that we are multidimensional beings. And just like the TARDIS out of Doctor Who, which seems like just a phone box, literally on the inside, it's incredibly expansive. That's what we are. So as you dive deeper into your energy, just keep diving deeper and deeper until you see or feel a light or a high vibrational energy source. And when you do connect with that, it may take a few seconds. That's okay. It can be a seeing thing or it can be a feeling thing, but you'll generally have some connection to it. So as you connect with it, now begin to expand that light source or that energy source out within your body first. So imagine that light expanding out from deep within your being and then radiating out into every aspect of the physical body, every cell, every organ, every bit of muscle tissue, skeleton, everything. The blood, the veins, the arteries. Imagine each cell in your body vibrating at a high frequency. And generally you can, it's a subtle feeling, but generally you can feel something changing as you impact the physical body with that energy source. Okay, so now expanding it out beyond your physical, because as I said, we're far more than physical. So expanding it out into the let's say, the human aspect of our energy system, which is about 7 to 8 energy bodies out. And in space, that relates to about 3 to 4 meters out from your physical in all directions. So just imagine expanding, projecting that light out from deep within your core, expanding it out to fill that 3 to 4 meters space all around you. But what I'd like you to do is just keep compacting light into that space to the point where you just want to let it explode, but not quite yet. Yep, it's great. I can feel it from here, even though you guys are all over the place in different countries, continents, states. Okay, so now, the count of 3, I just want you to let it explode. 1, 2, 3. Just let it, with the breath out, just let it go. No boundaries, no limitations. Your energy system is limitless. We're only just discovering this. There are no limitations to our energy. A lot of it is just dormant. But it's very quickly becoming activated. And that's a whole other story for another night. Beautiful. So with that expansive energy now, and you being tapped into that, you don't have to bring that light in. This is a place you can be all the time. All you need is repetitive connection to that little exercise a few times a day. And if you're a practitioner working with people, then do it between each client, because what this will do is clean your space so that you're not taking on any energy from the people you're working with, and it will also clean the space of your room that you work in. All right, so when you come out of that space, that expansive space, just the last thing, I'd like you to reground your energy. Just base chakra is enough. It's really just reminding your energy system that there's a physical body here. Beautiful. And I can just feel all of that energy just calm and settle. Nice, guys. All right, let's get into it. So, spirit guides. Oh, what I'm going to ask too is if everyone can. I'm going to have questions in the middle. So this goes for a little bit over an hour. So if you can write down whatever questions you want to ask, and I'll attack them in the middle and at the end of the evening. So we'll see how we go with that. I was going to share some of the workshops that are coming up too when we're about halfway. So, all right. So spirit guides. So I've been doing this work for around about 31 years now, and it's almost 32. And really, from within the first few months of getting into my spiritual path, I was affected by guides. I was connected to them. It was actually this is what first got me into this. So through my life previous to this, I didn't have any conscious connection to guides. I didn't even know what guides were. So I led a fairly sheltered life, a fairly secluded life in my workshop. I was a furniture maker by trade, and I was very busy. And but health-wise, I wasn't doing that well, particularly emotionally and mentally, and but physically as well. And so what happened? I was carving away at a table leg because I used to do quite decorative furniture or one-offs. And so I was carving away at this leg, and all of a sudden I hear this voice, and there was no physical person there in the room, in the workshop rather. But this voice was very clear and very loud and felt outside of me. It wasn't my internal voice. I couldn't have confused it at all with my internal voice because it was very clearly outside of me. It wasn't my thoughts. It was quite loud. And the voice said, Matthew, there's more to you and there's more to life. You need to go and find it. And so it's funny. The only thing I can say is what it did, it triggered something very deep inside me. And when I heard that, I started tracking back through my life. And actually what hit me was all of the physical ailments that I'd had over my life. So between 2 and 9, I was hospitalized several times with bronchial asthma. At 16, I got cancer. One of the specialists, because I asked for honesty back then, and one of the specialists said I possibly may only have 6 months to live because of how long the cancer had been there. And then at 23, I got diabetes, insulin dependent. Now, the age I was when I heard this voice was 29. Now, what I'd never actually seen was the distance or the time distance between each physical issue. So 2 to 9, 9 to 16, 16 to 23, and there was 7 years between each physical issue. Now, I was coming up to 29. The end of that next cycle was 1 year later. And it basically hit me like a thunderbolt. And I mean, I didn't know anything about cycles or anything like that. It wasn't even in my thoughts. I'd never read any books on spirituality. But it was very clear. It was as clear as a bell. And so I knew really deeply that I had to change my life. So, and I guess my guides did too. So that's why that guide came in particularly loud and strong. Look, I couldn't have mistaken it for anything else other than a very, very strong voice. So what I did, I started to search. I started to ask questions. And very quickly, I ended up connecting with a medium, male medium, and he was fantastic. He just blew me out of the water with the stuff because I pretty much zipped my lips, and he knew that too. But he was pulling stuff out of thin air that no one else knew about me, and so he suggested I went along to a meditation group. And I always highly suggest people go along to meditation groups. If they want to open up spiritually, then meditation groups are the best place to start. And so the first night I went along to this meditation group, there was one, it was quite a large group, and there was one chair free, coincidentally. So I sat down. The lady that was running it just told us it was a guided meditation. She just explained it all to everyone, and so I closed my eyes and lights were dimmed, and she put some music on, and so just starting to relax, and she was talking us through like a little journey, and I started to see shadows moving around with my eyes closed. Then I thought, oh, someone must be moving around in the middle of the circle. And I opened my eyes, and there was no physical people there, but I was seeing these shadows. And I soon began to realize that they were actually spirits, which is different to guides, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But with the experience that I had in the meditation, once I relaxed, I began to see energy. Now, that energy was in shades of everything from black to white, but it was only in those shades, no colours, and so everything was just in black and white for about 2.5 months. Pardon me. Then at that 2.5 months stage, everything changed. So I started off with the same experience, and then what happened, I can only say it this way because this is what it felt like. The TV screen came on in my head, and it was full-blown colour, and it was live, and I saw this Native American guide with his hair blowing in the breeze, prairie grass, which is just long grass on the plains, blowing in the breeze as well, and he started talking to me, not with his mouth moving, but through thought. And this is how guides work. And so he talked about many things to me, and about things that I was going to be doing in the future, which I've certainly very much grown into doing. And then I started to feel this energy building up inside of me, and it was incredibly powerful. I was shaking, and I thought it was nerves at first, but I wasn't nervous. It was just energy. And that, as soon as it was my turn to share what I got, that shaking and that energy just started to fade. But I realized what had happened eventually, what had happened in that process. Because I was a bit excited, it was the first time I'd ever had anything like that happen. I realized what it had done. It had ungrounded me. Now, our energy system is reliant, if it's going to function properly, it's reliant on a flow of energy going through from the upper chakras down through to the lower chakras and throughout the whole chakra system. Now, when you go into a bit of fear or anxiety, what happens is the base chakra tends to block off. And then what happens is the energy starts to react inside of you. And that's that feeling like you're just going to blow up, or that shaking feeling. And so if you ever do feel like that, just do something like grounding your energy, because what it will do, it will allow that energy then to flow down through your legs and feet into the earth. And it's kind of like a house or a car electrical system. For them to function, they need to be grounded, and we're no different. And then what happens is our energy system opens up once we're grounded. So anyway, I went along to and this was the funny part, but I was learning about this as I'm going through experiencing all of these new things. So the next time I went along to the meditation group, I'm thinking, yeah, beauty, I'm going to hear this guide again, or I might hear another one because I heard everyone else talking about this guide and that guide. And so I'm all excited. So I go along, I start seeing the energy moving around, still in black and white. And then so I go in, looking forward to seeing a guide or that Native American or another one. Nothing. Absolutely zip. And I thought, what happened then? Oh, maybe it's not going to happen tonight. So so the next meditation night came along, and I'm thinking, surely it's going to happen again. And guess what? Nothing. And so then I got to a point where I needed to let go. I thought, well, maybe this was just a one-off. And so maybe it was just there to show me that guides actually exist, and how it's possible to interact with them. And so I had no expectation. So the other two times I had expectations, but this time I had none. So guess what happened? I saw a different guide, not the same one, but a different one. And this taught me a huge lesson, how expectations can actually block our psychic abilities, our spiritual abilities. We have to learn to surrender. This is a completely different world or reality when you step into the spirit world. And the mind can have an incredibly powerful ability to block what we're desperately wanting to see or feel. So we need to learn to actually let go of that desperation, and just be neutral. And this is one of the biggest things around shamanism that I've learned, is learning to be neutral with your energy, and then amazing things happen. So, look, let's take it back a step, and I just wanted to explain the difference between spirits, and I'm talking about spirits that, like family members that have passed and go into the spirit world, and they haven't quite moved on yet, so they're still in this void, still really connected to the earth plane. And, sometimes they can have the ability to do physical experiences, but that's another story, which we can talk about another time. But for guides, there's a huge difference. So guides are, you can say, in spiritual form, but they're a much higher vibrational energy than just random spirits. So what happens is, to explain this best, is this is how my guides explained it to me. So here is whatever your belief system on God is. God, for God to grow, to understand, that understanding is done through experience. So to have an experience, it's necessary to be able to experience everything. You need God, or that presence, that higher force, needs to have many experiences happening all at once, because there are, how many experiences can you have? So then that higher force would separate into souls. Souls separate into life experiences, and there can be many life experiences, obviously, but there can also be many soul life experiences that are happening in one time zone on this planet now. They can be on other planets too, but the typical scenario is with spiritual energy or soul energy, we hear of soul mates and or soul friends, and this is literally that. It's another aspect of your soul that you connect with, and that can be that amazing first experiences that you have with a person, and you think you've known them for 100 years, and that's why you feel that way, because you share the same soul energy. So that's in the living form. But on a spiritual level, what happens is, when we come into this world, so our soul chooses to incarnate into a physical body on this planet, this time, and for us to reach our potential, we attract to us other aspects of our soul energy from other life experiences and in other time zones that have exactly the right information for us so that we can reach our potential. So this energy that we share makes it very easy for us to work together. The only thing that gets in the way, of course, is us and our head. And when we're not grounded and our head's in control and we don't trust and we disconnect emotionally, and that's when things go pear-shaped. But when you do start to open that up, you can get quite strong connections to your guides. And so with this soul energy, you could say that your guides have been, it's a term I don't use too often, and I'll tell you why in a sec. When we think about past life experiences, we're using ourselves as a reference point. So I've had a past life as this, or I've had a past life as that. We need to look at it in a slightly different way. Our soul is the source of all of these life experiences. So you are one soul experience that your soul has had, but all of these other extensions of the soul in different time zones are the same thing. They're all life experiences that your soul is having, or has had, or is going to have. And so if you can, maybe think a bit differently when you think about past lives, where we're all aspects of the same soul. And so yes, we can share memory with, particularly when it's relevant to what's happening now in our life. Like when we're having, when we do these repeat performances, life after life after life after life, where we're not moving through an issue that our soul is really wanting to learn. So we'll come back and we'll keep doing it again. So what can happen is, why, in therapy, or when you have some hypnotherapy or some past life regression or things like that, that's why those past lives will come up, because it's very relevant to what you're going through now. And so with guides, what we do, particularly at this time now, this is an incredibly powerful time for us all. Spiritual growth is just going through the roof across the planet. People are waking up, even your normal average human who probably doesn't think a lot about, spirituality. Even they're waking up now. They're asking more questions. Maybe they haven't jumped into full-on spirituality at this point, but they're still asking more questions. So everyone's frequency is raising at the moment. What that does to us, it makes our abilities and particularly the strengths of our abilities much, much stronger. Now, some people are strong in seeing energy, but that's, I would say, is minimal. The people that can actually really clearly see a whole aura, a whole spectrum of an aura, can see guides really clearly. That's not as common as people who can feel. Pretty much everyone that is sensitive can feel. But the trick is, sometimes if you're not taught how to feel and how to be able to reach your abilities, this can be an issue, and it can frustrate a lot of people. And this is part of the reason why I really push that grounding exercise, because in my experience with people wanting to jump into spiritual growth, and particularly, like I started when the New Age was pretty much at its peak here in Adelaide. There were crystal shops just about on every block down in the city. And but what was happening then, a lot of people that were going through spiritual growth were mainly working with the upper chakras, kind of the heart and above, and not wanting to work with the lower chakras because they didn't think that was going to help them to open up spiritually. But it's actually wrong, because what happens is the base chakra relates to all of our human stuff, all of the emotional blockages, all of the whatever emotional energy or any energy that we're hanging on to. We can be hanging on to other people's energy, and if we are, that's going to highly affect our base chakra energy. Now, the base chakra energy, treat your base chakra like the foundation of a skyscraper, because if your base chakra isn't strong, if that foundation isn't strong, then all of the chakras above that are going to be shaky, and they're not going to be consistent. And to get the best out of the upper chakras, you have to deal with your emotional baggage. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill. As much as a lot of people have tried it, it doesn't work. You have to actually make a commitment to yourself to deal with your fears, your anxieties, old energy, old repressed memories, all of that stuff. So that stuff is incredibly important. And the funny thing is, when you focus on that, you don't need to go and buy a book about reading auras or seeing guides. It just naturally starts to happen. But a lot of people haven't got the patience to do the personal work. So fortunately, I grew up with a fairly heavy commitment to pushing through things. And so self-growth was something that was always very important to me. And I'm not even talking about spiritual stuff now. I'm talking with my furniture making business, but it grew with me with the spiritual work as well. And it was an incredible driving force that I found once I could see where the problem areas were, what broke down the system. Well, let's strengthen the system by clearing up all of the issues that weaken the system, and then you naturally get stronger in a lot of areas, not just spiritually. You get stronger emotionally, mentally, and physically. So, and this is how you connect with guides really clearly. It's amazing when it happens. So let's. I wanted to start just to talk about. Well, actually, it's 7:40. We're kind of about halfway. So what I might do is I might take in a few questions. Where are we? So questions. Thanks for joining. Wasn't brilliant. I've had so Adair has said I've had that happen. I had expectations of something particular happening, and found it difficult to accept when something different happened. Yeah, because the mind, like I said, the mind is incredibly powerful, and when it's sometimes we put the wrong intentions in there. Always be really clear about the intentions that you're putting in your mind, because that can work against us. So, okay, so no more, there's a few statements there, but no questions as such. So if you want to, keep the questions coming. Daniel's got one. Is there anything we do to help build our connections with our guides? Well, meditation's a big one. The more you learn to meditate, that's a way into stilling the mind, because one of the biggest issues is when the mind is very busy, and you can't stop it, you can't slow it down, and it just feels like there's just words going all the time. Now, sometimes that can be not just your thoughts. So empaths have a tendency to take on a lot of other people's thoughts. They don't realize they are, but what it's doing, it's pancaking. It'll be similar stuff, and other people's thoughts then pancake on top of your own, and it's very hard to determine what's yours and what's other people's, and most people don't even think that it would be someone else's, so they just see it's all theirs, and that just accumulates in a person's space, and it's just constant, and you can't slow it down. So again, grounding will actually stop that happening. The more you ground your energy and raise your frequency with that grounding exercise, the calmer and the clearer your mind becomes. And Christina, do you always ask, are you from the light, before you open up to receive their energy? Look, the one thing, it's a very valid question. For me, I had a connection with guides. Now, I didn't know, I wasn't told, and this is one of the biggest things that actually affects a lot of spiritual people. I wasn't told in the beginning that there were negative entities or negative beings, so I had no fear. I had no fear coming into this. But what happens is, when you have fear in your space, that's what actually draws negative entities in. And this is a really interesting conversation, and we could go down a very long rabbit warren with this one. But the less fear you have, if you do have fears about spirituality, learn to actually deal with them and see where they came from, and this then will help to not only still the mind, but it will help to open the mind up to much higher vibrational things, including guides. So so fear is a huge block for us. So one of the biggest things we do, if we're going to open up to hear and see guides, we have to work on our fears. And that can be done through a lot of the work I do. Look, there's a lot of people out there that can do. I don't know exactly what they do, but I know what I do, and that's the focus of a lot of the work that I do, is helping people to release old energy, old emotional energy, and to release energy blockages wherever they come from. And that's really what helps people to open up spiritually. Fiona, do our guides stay with us for life, or do they leave us if we don't acknowledge them properly? Good question. That leads into a few things. So guides, if you have trouble, or you're in a situation where you've got no support spiritually, guides aren't going to go anywhere. They don't get miffed or upset because you're not talking to them. They're not like people can be. They're much better developed and more spiritually aware than that. Guides will still get through to you sometimes. So when you get that gentle nudge, sometimes it's not so gentle, to go into you might be driving along in your car, and there's a bookshop, somewhere nearby, and you just notice that bookshop where you would normally not notice it. Sometimes it'll be your guides actually just bringing that into your awareness, and something's telling you to go into that bookshop. And but I'm going here. I've got to get to this place. But there's a very strong feeling to go into that bookshop. Don't fight it. This is where the magic happens in life. You go into that bookshop and you just don't know what's going to happen. You could meet someone that might be able to help you on your spiritual path. It might be the perfect book or a CD or something. Generally, magical things happen when you follow your intuition. And sometimes that intuition isn't just you. It's your guides getting little messages through on a subtle level. Is there a best time to meditate? Janet's asking. I have heard about the power hour of 5 to 6. Does it matter what time you meditate? Not really. I think in the beginning it might do, particularly when you're going from not having done any meditation to beginning to meditate, because the body, we're habitual creatures, and the mind has a tendency to like a system. And what I found in the beginning, it was like my body would just be ready, because the meditations always started at, I think it was around 7 p.m. And in that group I went to, and look, a lot of meditation groups seem to be about the same. And so your body, once you've done it a few times, your mind is almost prepared and ready. It knows how to get into that space. So everything starts to happen then. But once you've been meditating for a while, look, quite honestly, I don't recommend this for everyone, but I can meditate to a degree when I'm driving in the car, because I've got my conscious mind, pardon me, my conscious mind is on the brake lights of the cars in front of me and what's going on with peripheral vision. But in my mind, I can be talking to my guide, and one of my guides, and I could be seeing something energetically that is going on as well. So it's just about, the more you develop your skills, the more open you can be, and you can find yourself in many realities all at once. And that just takes time, experience. So Trish is asking, before establishing direct contact, is there a way of choosing a medium where you know that is genuinely from your guides? Okay. Generally, you will feel, if it doesn't feel right, then it's not a guide. If you feel there's something that's not quite right about it, I've heard many horrific stories about guides telling people to do really horrible stuff. That's not a guide. Guides are there for your spiritual growth on a positive level. They're not there to do anything else other than to help spiritual growth, promote spiritual growth, and to help you help others to do the same thing. Like I said, this is a massive time of spiritual growth across the whole planet, and it's very important to remember that your guides are there for that reason as well. Hi, Kim from Western Australia. I'm just going to take one more question, and then I'm just going to go really quickly into workshops that are happening. So Daniel's asking, I have heard that we can have guides that come into our lives depending on what stage we're going through, but I have also heard that we have a gatekeeper who stays with us. If so, what is the difference between a spirit guide and a gatekeeper? Okay. Well, generally, there seems to be in your set of guides, and there does seem to be a sweet spot as to how many guides we have. I have noticed that just in observation that when we're in our flow, when we're on our spiritual path, we tend to have 7. But I know there can be more than that, but on an average, there seems to be about 7. Now, the gatekeeper is, it's just a term. They don't call themselves gatekeepers, but generally the guide that is there for life, and I think, sorry, I probably didn't finish this answer for someone else too. So some guides are there for the whole of our life. They're there when we come into this world, and they're there when we leave this world. So, it'll be their hand out when we're passing into the spirit world, or wherever we end up going. But there are some guides that are there for just a particular part of our growth. And I've experienced that a few times where guides will be there. And then the first time this happened was with a Native American guide I had who, look, he was there just about 24/7 with me. And a lot of people may not understand this, but how strong this can be. But he was there all the time I was awake. I'm sure he was there when I was asleep too, but at least he let me rest. But he was there all the time I was awake because he'd be there teaching me with new things that I'd be doing when I was working with people. And particularly when I was working with dark energy. And again, that's another story, but he was there. He showed me how to deal with that dark energy. And he was incredibly supportive, but he was a teacher. He was literally a teacher that was there all the time that I was awake, even when I was doing woodwork and furniture making, when I was doing still a bit of contract work. And I'd be in someone else's workshop, and there'd be people in the workshop I didn't know. He'd be pointing out a certain person. He'd say, have a look at his aura. What do you see? What do you see that's different in his aura that you don't see in everyone else? And as I'm making a piece of furniture, he'd be talking about that. So it was a really great experience to be able to do that. And so I see that head guide, the one that's there from birth to death, as being like the gatekeeper. So he's there, and he really helps to coordinate the other guides at times. But there can be another step above that too, sometimes with people that are doing bigger work, a bigger spiritual work, where they're doing more in the way of teaching, where they're working with groups. You can have a higher vibrational being come in that they end up becoming more like a gatekeeper, or not. Gatekeeper is probably a bit of a Hollywood sort of name. It's just a guide that really helps not only you, but your business to become more expansive. And these higher vibrational beings see your energy, and they can see what you're capable of by just reading your energy. And so they come in and they help you to expand not just yourself, but expand your business if that's what your path is. Look, I'm just going to have a quick break, and we're going to just have a quick look at workshops coming up. I feel like we could go on for another hour after this. So Adair, if you could start putting the workshops up. We've got a series of workshops coming through. So there's an online workshop that is starting next month, and it's about auras, chakras, and other aspects of the energy system. This is online for 8 weeks, and be about 2.5 hours each night. And it's very, very comprehensive, and we do a meditation, and we look very deeply at each of the major 7 chakras and each of the major 7 energy bodies. And we work with one of each night. And what happens is the week following that, you end up getting the universe provides you with a whole lot of experiences around that particular chakra and energy body. It's quite interesting how it all works. So we've got other workshops that are offline, and I've got level 1 shamanism coming up. There's that's coming up on the 19th and 20th September, and that'll be up here in Birdwood. There's a level 2 coming up. So level 1 is 2 days inside, and we look at the ego and do fairly comprehensive looking and feeling of energy, and I get you by the end of the Sunday, get you reading energy. Level 2 is about fine-tuning all of that. We go out into the forest on day 2. We look deeper again at the energy system on day 1. That's the 17th and 18th of October, again in Birdwood, in the Adelaide Hills. And then there's level 3, or shamanic bodywork. And that is basically a whole lot of different shamanic techniques in working with someone on a massage table or on a floor or wherever you choose to work from. So they're very comprehensive. If you're interested, just give me a ring through the week. And guys, everyone over in New Zealand, I wanted to be there this year and to run some of these over there, but hopefully, cross fingers, I'll be over there next year. So I've been to New Zealand probably about 5 times now, so can't wait to get back. So I've got a drum making workshop also, thank you, Adair, coming up on the 27th of September. So it's a deer skin, Native American style, 13-sided drum, which brings in the aspect of the 13-moon calendar. I think that's it. So we'll go on to some more questions because this is good. Rebecca, my experience with my guides is incredibly clear when I am focused, relaxed and calm and grounded. But I have a lot of going on at the moment, and I have noticed that I have pulled back, enabling. Look, guides are very compassionate. When you're in the right zone, they'll be there as strong as anything. There was one experience I can remember in the early days, though. This can be one reason why they back off. So when I started hearing guides like a lot, they would be passing information on through me to the person that I was working on. And so what happened when I first started doing this work, I was a little bit hesitant at giving what I would say is the whole truth. I'd just because of my nature back then, I would censor some of the information and I'd make it a little bit gentler, because sometimes I thought they were being a little bit harsh. And so what happened was they started talking to me less and less and less, even in those sessions. And the reason was, and it took someone else that could see what was going on to tell me that, because I was getting very frustrated. But they stopped talking to me basically because I wasn't passing the information on as they were giving it to me. So because I was censoring it, the reason why they would say it the way it was because that's how that person would take that information the best. And what I was doing, I was trying to gentle the blow. And sometimes people need just a bit of a stronger, clearer, precise energy. And so, I didn't want to upset or anyone, but I soon went back to just passing it on as I got it. And that actually changed my whole attitude around the truth and speaking up and being clear and honest. And it actually changed a lot of things with me, made me, I think, a better person in the end. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Rebecca again. I'm sure my guides have gave me a big nudge to tune in tonight and get back into my grounding and meditation. Good, I'm glad. What have we got? Clay. It's such an amazing feeling when it's realized that we are never alone. Most definitely. To know our guides are always with us, and they are, and they, like I said, they're very compassionate. Pardon me. They back off when we need it, but they're very supportive when we do. And, we can say sometimes, that we were alone and we went to a really dark place. But sometimes you've got to think, when you're back out of that dark place, how much darker could it have been if our guides weren't there? And that's what keeps me sort of very conscious that the fact that they do support us in a huge way. Okay, so Janet, I can't wait to be able to manifest a free weekend when I'm not working to do shamanism level 1. Well, yeah, that'll be great. Manifest harder. You can do it. Fiona, do our guides manifest to us in ways that we feel comfortable seeing them? And if so, can they shapeshift, or do they not have a particular physical persona? Well, yes, they do have a particular physical persona, but they can shapeshift too. But generally they will come to us as whatever wisdom they gathered and whatever knowledge we needed, which comes from that wisdom, they will show themselves to us when we're ready, in that form where they gained that wisdom. So it could be Native American, it could be a professor from 200 years ago, it could be an artist, it could be anything. But generally they will show themselves as whatever life experience they gained that knowledge from. And they're there to help support us with this journey that we're on. This subject is can be so vast, because the whole understanding of guides and where this information, this storage house of information comes from when we speak, when we're very grounded and when we're very open, is massive. I'll just give you a little example. When I do speak in front of a group, the first time I did this, and I was asked to do a talk about spirituality. I think I had about half an hour, and the first time I did a talk was many, many years ago, and I had it all planned out. I spent a week planning this talk out, and it had dot points, and it had things in red, and some things were exclamated, and I thought, I've got to get this right. I was going over it and over and over it. When I got in front of that group of people, I had to tear it up. I couldn't, because I was trying to read what was in front of me, and then I'm looking at the people. What I was doing, I was actually connecting unknowingly to the consciousness of those people. So the information I'd written was giving me information, but the information that I was getting from the consciousness of those people, I was being directed to say other things. So what my guide said to me in that process was, forget about planning talks. Just get there in front of those people. If there's a subject, just know that you will know something about that already. But what also will happen is when you're grounded, when you have faith and trust that those guides are there and that they're supporting you, then the information that comes out of your mouth will be a union of not just my knowledge and my voice, because I don't go along with the remarks I've heard from some spiritual people that I am just the vessel and it all flows through me, but I am just the vessel. I don't agree with that. Those guides would not be there without you being there. And the fact that you've had a life path as well and you've gained wisdom on your own, it's a union of your wisdom and the wisdom of your guides. And so when I do talks these days, some of the things that are coming out of my mouth, I'm thinking, wow, that's really interesting. Where's this coming from? And, I'm sort of really itching to hear where it's going. And because I know it's not coming directly from me, it's coming from one of my guides. So this is how they work. Once you get a really conscious connection with them, and it becomes very self-supportive and spiritually, but not just spiritually, sometimes physically, mentally, and emotionally as well. And so it's like the gang's always there. They can be having a rest sometimes. Sometimes you need to be putting your foot out there and doing things for yourself. But a lot of the time, as soon as it comes to doing spiritual work, I can tell you for sure that they're all there around you, supporting you and being a part of you. And it's when this union occurs that the magic happens. And that's when it can't be put down to anything else, It's just a wonderful connection. Just a couple more questions. Good question, Carol. We're running out of time for this one. Are galactic beings guides as well? Fantastic question. What I'm finding is, pardon me, a bit of a croak in the throat tonight. What I'm finding is more and more people that come to me for readings or healing sessions, there's generally at least one or two galactic beings there. Now, I'm not struggling, but this has been in the back of my head. So are these galactic beings other aspects of us, our soul? And I believe they are, because different ones will, even if it's the same species of galactic being, it'll be a different member of that species that will be there with that person. And so, yes, so I do believe that galactic beings can be sharing the same soul energy, because why would the soul only be learning through an incarnation on this planet? Why not other planets as well? And this is the magic. We're becoming so much more expansive now. Galactic beings, I think we're going to have to do a talk on this next time. But galactic beings, it's the whole way they're coming in now is changing, and there's a hell of a lot more positive ones coming in, and a hell of a lot less negative ones there. There still are some negative ones, but it's a whole lot less, and it's just great to see and feel these changes that are going on. So where are we? Coming back. Just finding where we were. There. So Mandy, comforting to know. Thanks, Matthew. My pleasure, Mandy. So Trish is asking, do your guides have anything they'd like to share about what's ahead in 2020? Look, 2020, I know, is going to be a bit of a roller coaster. It already has been. What's happening, I've been noticing for about the last 11, 12 years, the fact that there's very subtle raising in vibration that was happening 11, 12 years ago, it was still subtle as it rose in frequency, and it's been constant. It's just been constant raising in frequency ever since then. What's happening now is it changed this year. It changed right at the beginning of the year to waves of this energy, and it was pretty full on. So this didn't coincide with planetary shifts or planets in retrograde or anything like that, or moon phases. This is completely separate to that. This is a frequency shift that's now, instead of it being just a subtle increase, it's coming in waves, and these waves are pretty powerful, and it's pushing people's buttons on many levels. And what I've been told and prepared for is the fact that these waves are just going to continue this year, because it's pushing us through fairly quickly through a lot of our internal conflict. And a lot of this internal conflict relates to not just our personal stuff, not just humanity's conflict, internal conflict, but also our beginnings, the beginnings of humanity, which is a mixed bag of extraterrestrial species that we really stem from. And it was a lot of the conflict that's internal to the interactions between those different species that we're also working through with these waves of energy. And it's really powerful what's going on for us. So this is why there's so many galactic beings out there now observing us, because they're really interested in how the changes are occurring through us, and how we're dealing with it. And it also reflects this integration of DNA that's waking up within us at the moment, but it also reflects the us working out the differences within ourselves, but also the differences within species and cultures. So the time's coming, and I've been assured in our lifetime that the time will come when they will be coming down, not en masse, but they'll be coming down, and there will be physical interaction with them. Look, I've already had 2 sightings of physical sightings of that I'm conscious of extraterrestrial beings, and it seemingly was accidental, but I don't think it was. And this is going to be happening more and more as we go along. 2023 is going to be the 2023 is going to be the big one, because that's when a lot of the truth is coming out. There's a huge preparation going on for that. So all of the lies that we've been told over many, many thousands of years about our history, the truth will be coming up to the surface. And it is going to shake a lot of people up, but it'll also just make a whole lot of sense too, because there's a lot that doesn't make sense with what we're taught and with what we're told. And like I said, this is a conversation that could just go so many places. So maybe we'll leave this one for the next night, so we can talk more about what's happening on a galactic level next Thursday. How's that? So, but yeah, most people have galactic beings around them, because they're actually supporting us with these DNA activations that are going on within us. All right, guys. Look, thank you so much for being a part of tonight. Great questions, and great interest too, by the looks. So there's more where this came from. Watch this space. So next Thursday, there we go. We've got a subject. So what's going on a galactic level now? And so don't forget Monday night meditation. It's going to be fortnightly now. So hopefully I'll see you along there. But otherwise, have a great weekend. Don't forget to ground your energy, and you'll be much more stable, much happier, much clearer, and you'll have a whole lot more fun. So Stay safe, guys. Be good, and I shall see you soon. Bye for now.